Now we get ready for this championship game. Buffalo and Kansas City have played a zillion times. Raheem, we know what the narrative is. Buffalo's beaten them in the regular season. In fact, Buffalo has beaten them in the regular season each of the last 3 years. Guess what? They have matched up in the postseason, and Josh Allen is 0-3 against Patrick Mahomes. Now, Buffalo, you can make the argument they got thoroughly outplayed. We all would make that argument last week against Baltimore. They also had some good luck on their side, potentially. Bass making a big field goal. Bills kickers, they never make big kicks. He made one. Getting some luck on the Andrews drop or the deflected pass on the two-point play. I know there are folks in Western New York wanting to believe that this time, Raheem, it's going to be different. But the Chiefs, to me, went through their game against Houston, didn't play their best by any stretch of the imagination, still won comfortably, still won by margin. How is this different this time around for Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills? What's the pathway to that?
I'm actually not sure because Houston outgained the Kansas City Chiefs 336 yards to 212 yards and became the first team amongst 50 in NFL history to lose a playoff game with no turnovers and a plus 100 yardage advantage. So if the Chiefs can win under those circumstances, it's very difficult for me to bet against this Chiefs team. And look, I do have the Buffalo Bills power rated as higher than the Chiefs. But when it comes to the postseason, I think you have to bump up this Chiefs team's power rating. And you look at the Buffalo Bills, they've suffered some injuries. Teron Johnson, he has a left shoulder injury. You look at Taylor Rapp, he exited the game against the Ravens with a hip injury. You look at Christian Benford, he's in the concussion protocol. So you have much of your secondary, and I just highlighted that they weren't good defensively against the Ravens. Now you got to go and take on the God, Patrick Mahomes on the road. Last year was the golden opportunity because the Bills actually had the home game. Now you're asking this team to go into Arrowhead and win one on the road. It's very tough. And the only pathway that I can find for the Bills to win this game is for them to do what they've done all year long. And the interesting thing about this Bills team is that they have tied or won the turnover battle in all 19 games this year, breaking the record. Yeah, held by the 97 Broncos, the 2000 Ravens, and the 2013 Seattle Seahawks. All of those teams have won the Super Bowl. So if they don't get any negative regression, maybe they win this game.
Yeah, JJ, it's a tough path for Buffalo, and Dream touched on it with respect to the secondary. Listen to these numbers. I mean, since week 14, they were 29th in dropback EPA, this secondary. The Bills allowed the fourth most passing yards, the third most yards per attempt on 20-yard or more throws. Last week, we just watched it. Lamar completed 3 of 5 attempts of 20 yards or more. Both Rashad Bateman and Isaiah Likely with catches of 35 yards or more. And we have been anticipating that this Chiefs offense, with the vertical threats that have been kind of muted because of the health of the receiving core, that at some point we might see it. This might be it, because the other aspect of this Bills team, they don't get sustained pressure. Now, it will be a fascinating matchup to see if they're able to generate some pressure. If we see a throwback Von Miller game, right? And that left side of the Chiefs' offensive line still vulnerable. But the Bills have to invent ways to pressure Mahomes, because if he's able to get vertical, there's no question that the Chiefs receiving core, and some folks thought it might come against the Texans, but the Texans defense really showed us something, didn't they? It might be against this Bills defense. And then what you're really asking for, you're asking Josh Allen to have a perfect game, which he might have in him, because he's been incredible this season. He's my MVP for this year, but you need a perfect game out of Josh Allen, JJ.
Yeah, I think that's the blueprint. Raheem, you hit it, the turnover aspect. I did not know Buffalo's either tied or ahead in every single game this year, but we've seen it. They've had a lot of fortuitous turnover luck. They are going to need it in this game. I think the weakness of the Chief tackles has to be exploited. Like, if Buffalo is going to win, that to me has got to be a major talking point, a major conversation. And last but not least, Joe House, astutely, all over it. Josh Allen, fair or unfair. The narrative is you're an all-world quarterback. You're super fun to watch in the regular season. You've had great playoff success, but you can't beat number 15. Can you put on the Superman cape? And can you flip the narrative the way Peyton Manning was able to do it back in 2006 against Tom Brady? Remember, Brady owned Peyton Manning in those head-to-head matchups. They're down 21-3. I know the title game is being played on the road as opposed to being in Indy's RCA Dome, but you know what happened in that particular game? Peyton Manning had that moment which allowed him to break through. Steve Young against Aikman and the Cowboys had the moment where he was able to go and break through. Or are we looking at Dan Marino and Jim Kelly? Are we looking at Troy Aikman and Brett Favre, where it just continues to be one-sided? I have some thoughts when we do best bets. You can be damn sure that the Chiefs and the Bills will be featured in our best bet conversation. So when we come back, we'll get in the lab quick and put an SGP together, which we will do. FanDuel Sportsbook, Celtics, Lakers. Going to require some creativity from the boys, but we're going to do that, and we'll have best bets for Championship Sunday. That's coming up next.